First of all, you have to put your mind to it. No, once you put your mind to something that you think will be an opportunity, you have to plan for it. You have to do detailed planning such that you can minimize the uncertainty uh, of what you plan to do. So planning is very important after identifying what you want to do.
What's up mga ka-investa? Welcome to episode 14 of the Investa Learn Business Talk. I am Renzo and I'm your host for this show. And my job here is to deconstruct, interview, and get inspiration from Filipino entrepreneurs, Filipino business founders, and CEOs para may matutunan tayo and ma-apply natin yun if we want to start our own business in the future. Alright, so our guest for today is Mario Mamon, and he is the CEO and President of Enchanted Kingdom Incorporated. So I know marami sa inyong nakaalam kung ano yung Enchanted Kingdom because of course it is the number one attraction theme park in the Philippines. Alright, so in this episode, marami kaming pag-uusapan with regards to how he started the company, paano na gawa yung ganito kalaking establishment sa Pilipinas, no? We're gonna be talking about the failures and success that he has been going throughout the 25 years of running Enchanted Kingdom and many more in this episode. So I hope ma-inspire kayo and I hope marami kayong matutunan from this episode. So without further ado, let's move on to the episode. Alright, what's up mga ka-investa? Welcome back and welcome Sir Mario to the show.
Thank you very much, Renzo, for inviting me over. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Sir, maraming salamat. It's an honor to finally meet you. And of course, I'm very thankful that you're here. I know you're a busy person. And thank you because you are one of the historical people na in the Philippines. Of course, because you built this big amusement park in the Philippines and you have really made a big impact sa mga Pilipino, no? Because you have made a lot of people very happy in the previous years and for more years to come. So thank you so much, sir, for your contribution. So before of course, this is a business podcast, and we'd like to get a lot of tips and inspiration from you, being the big entrepreneur that you are right now. But before that, sir, I always like to begin with the origin stories of the companies because, of course, that maraming natututunan from the foundations of something. So, sir, how were you before Enchanted Kingdom started, and what were you doing for a living back then?
That is a very good question because unlike maybe other entrepreneurs, what we went into with Enchanted Kingdom is completely different from what I was used to before we hatched the idea. Alam mo naman na dati in my other life, I was in agribusiness. No, the family was in agriculture, basically in sugar, also livestock. And of course, dahil yun ang background ko, that was what I studied for also at UP Los Baños. No? And for the first 20 years of my life, my professional life after graduation, it was really in that line of business. But of course, as fate would have it, nagkaroon ng pagbabago sapagkat yung dati namin mga lands na ginagamit for agriculture became very expensive and were converted into real estate. And that gave us the opportunity to think of something unique and something pioneering here in the country. So before talaga Enchanted Kingdom, I was really in farming.
All right. So how did you make that transition from the agriculture and the farming business into Enchanted Kingdom, which is more on amusement kind of entrepreneurship, sir?
So after we had no choice but really to make use of the land for other purposes, and that is real estate. We were thinking, bata pa naman kami noon. We were not yet even in our 40s. And then we had young and growing families with children. Ako, apat yung anak ko at that time. And we were used to going around whatever was available in the country. So we had the indoor amusement parks in Quezon City. We had the seasonal carnivals like Big Bang sa Alabang, and even in
Mm.
the early part there was already Star City. So as a young family with growing children, we wanted to go to places where we can enjoy as one group. And then we thought, after our experiences going abroad regionally to Hong Kong and to Singapore, where there were already semblances of international quality amusement parks, sabi namin, bakit hindi pwede magkaroon dito sa Pilipinas? Bakit wala pa sa Pilipinas? Wala pang pumupuntang negosyante sa ganyang klaseng business. So sabi namin, so ito baka may opportunity dito. So we set the ball rolling in 1992, wherein we really started planning and conceptualizing for Enchanted Kingdom. And it was no ordinary task sapagkat, yun nga, lahat kaming kasama sa grupo led by me, wala kaming kinalaman sa amusement.
Mm.
So, natural lang na ang una namin gagawin is siyempre, sino ba pinakilala natin? Disney, Universal. Sinulatan namin sila. Pero sawing palad, siyempre, sino ba naman kami para pansinin? We were not
Mm.
even given the courtesy of reply. But of course, we learned about the Global Association of the Amusement and Attractions Industry, yung tinatawag na International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions. Isang matagal na samahan na ito. It's 101 years old this year.
Mm.
And nakilala namin yung aming mga consultants at saka mga designers doon. So doon namin pinili yung kung sino yung magdi-design at sino yung tutulong sa amin magko-consult about operations. And then after a final presentation in early 1994, we broke ground in August of 1994 and
Mm.
soft opened July 25, 1995. Kaya last week, bali parang 2 weeks ago, halos nag-celebrate kami ng aming soft opening 25 years ago. Yes, fans, Enchanted Kingdom is already an adult, 25 years old
Wow.
na siya.
Grabe. So, may nakipag-partner kayo with this organization, sir. And then you started out because of course you had a lot of land during your farming days and farming businesses. So basically, tinransform nyo yung land na yun into from farming to an attraction park, which is now Enchanted Kingdom. So,
Not directly, indirectly, if you want to put it that way. Kasi the
mm.
the land that we use for our agribusiness operations was different from where Enchanted Kingdom is now. No,
Mm.
kasi yung land namin na nasa agriculture became part of a bigger mixed-use development that you now know as New Valley. And then,
Mm.
so, siyempre, going into that line, going into a joint venture, gave us some free capital to be able to do something else. And what we did was to conceptualize, incorporate, and buy land for Enchanted Kingdom. And at that time, way back in 1993, 94, we were thinking Enchanted Kingdom should be high visibility, dapat nakikita from the highway. So even if we had offers to put it more towards New Valley or
Mm.
inside, at that time wala pa iba talagang mga buildings doon, wala pang development. Gusto namin talaga malapit sa expressway. Kaya doon kami naghanap ng lupa na available, and that's where we built Enchanted Kingdom.
Oh. Actually, that's true because every time we go to SLEX, we go to the south area. We always see Enchanted Kingdom, and we always have like nostalgic memories, no? Whenever we visit that place.
Totoo 'yun kasi nga we have, because of our 25th anniversary and even a few years before this year, talagang we consider ourselves to have that Enchanted Kingdom generation already, wherein we have parents now who used to be the children going to Enchanted Kingdom during the earlier years, no? And then we have the small children then who are now the parents or who are even working with us. We even
Mm.
have some employees whose children already working with us, no? And so nakakatuwa na in that span of 25 years, nagkaroon na nga ng pwedeng tawagin na Generation EK. And then yung pa, sana marami pa magkaroon ng gano'n sapagkat that's the legacy that we want to leave to the Philippines and to our countrymen, is to have our own local Disney type attraction that can provide wholesome family entertainment and magical and enchanting memories for years to come.
Wow. All right, sir. So you, of course, Enchanted Kingdom is a very, very big industry, very big business now. And of course, to start something that big, it requires, I guess it requires so much capital. So you mentioned that you've had a lot of ventures. So how did you gain enough capital to fund Enchanted Kingdom?
Of course, the first thing really is to have a business plan, or a plan that will show you what you are going to do, how will you make money after going through that plan. No? So we came up with that plan, a feasibility study. We had local and foreign consultants. Even at that time, we had Harrison Buzz Price, who at that time was already in his 70s, but he was the original leisure economist of Walt Disney. So he helped us come up with the study. And from that study, we made presentations to a select group of private investors who we thought would be interested. And from that group of investors, we were able to form the company. Of course, at that time, it was composed of about 5 groups, 2 foreign, and then 3 were local. But the seed capital, or everything from zero to when we incorporated, really was an investment, a major investment on our part. Pero as the 25 years passed on, uh, uh, the the investment is now focused on just two groups. It's still privately held, and we have reinvested, and we continue to invest more. A slight hiccup because of COVID, but the plans are still there for a bigger and brighter future EK.
Yes. Of course, syempre yung COVID is one of the most important things that we will tackle rin in this conversation later on. Pero before that, I'd like to dig in more. So, nung nag-start kayo, sir, nung kakasimula pa lang ng Enchanted Kingdom, what did it look like? Because of course, I think I was born a year after EK na. So, what were the first few attractions that were there, and what did it look like before?
When we had the park designed, and when we approved the design, it was really to create an escape from reality. Kaya kung makikita mo, talagang there was nothing Filipino inside. No, we had 7 theme zones, pero pagpasok mo doon, para kang nasa ibang bansa, nasa ibang time ka in history. Sapagkat ayaw mo naman pumunta doon na ang maalala mo kung ano yung nakikita mo sa labas. And for each of the different zones, we had a set of rides, maybe for a set of age groups. So when we opened in 1995, each of the 7 theme zones had their signature rides and attractions already. And we chose the rides for their popularity and also for their affordability. Kasi when we started in 1995, it was not like as if we were in the US or in Europe, wherein you needed cutting edge technology, and you needed the first wave of new attractions, rides and attractions. Since first tayo sa Pilipinas, pwede naman na huli ka na ng mga 5 taon or even more than that. Kasi at that time when we set it up, what was the biggest Ferris wheel at that time? What was the biggest roller coaster? So I think up to now, except for the Ferris wheel, we still have the biggest of everything. No, except for the Ferris wheel, kasi marami na siyempre nakikita natin all around Luzon. Pero in terms of the other attractions, wala pa atang lumalaki kaysa to what we have in the park.
So, nung simula, sir, meron ng biggest roller coaster, biggest Ferris wheel, and included yun dun sa
Kasi
7 different themes.
if you go through the park kasi, siyempre yung parang whirlwind tour. You go through the Grand Gateway, which is part of the Victoria Park, which is the Victorian era, in the 1800s, and then you'll see the Grand Carousel. The 60-seat Grand Carousel is still the largest carousel in the country up to now. No? And then if you move left, you enter Midway Boardwalk and also Boulderville. Boulderville is more of a children's playground with smaller rides, and themed after prehistoric times or the time of the dinosaur. When you go to Midway Boardwalk, it's like Coney Island or New York in the 30s, with the boardwalk and with a small roller coaster. And then also at that time we had a different ride, but now we have the drop tower, the bumper cars, and also that part of that also is the like anchors away the swinging ship. And then when we opened, we had video arcades and
Wow.
redemption games. After that, you go into Jungle Outpost, uh, which had Jungle Log Jam, which is a permanent log flume ride, unlike what was available then, which was a portable log flume ride in Manila. And then, of course, around Jungle Outpost, also that's where also you have one half of the bandstand area, which is for the fast food area, and also one half of the full service restaurant, which is Amazon Grill. Moving along, of course, you get into Spaceport, where you have the signature roller coaster, the Space Shuttle. And if you can see the position of the Space Shuttle and where it is located, you can, at that time, you can easily see it from the main highway. So it serves as an attraction also. So continuing on, you go to Brooklyn Place, which is like a borough in New York, Brooklyn, New York. So parang again, New York in the 30s, cobblestone streets, and then Art Deco styling, where you have Rialto, which used to be a 60-seat motion simulator, but it has been upgraded into 4D theater now for 105 people.
Wow.
And then finally, you go to Portobello, where we initially had the Flying Fiesta, yung parang rotating swing. And then, of course, in 2000, we opened also the Rio Grande, which is a river raft ride. And then after that, 2012, we had the disco. Then 2014, we added the air race to the spaceport zone. And of course, in 2016, to mark our 20th anniversary in 2015, we opened up Aguila the Experience, the largest flying theater in the world. So it was really a challenge at the beginning. We had very good crowds, but of course there were also more external factors that affected our performance. But come 2009 onwards, we were able to pick up the pieces and really turn it around, such that from 2010 up to now, we've been adding one or two new attractions every 2 or 3 years. And after Aguila in 2016, we have more surprises coming up. And beyond 2020, makalusot lang tayo dito sa COVID-19.
All right. Looking forward to the new attractions in the future. And I'm sure lahat kayo naging nostalgic kayo nung napakinggan niyo yung mga dinescribe niyo, sir, sa amin. Especially yung Space Mountain, yun yung Space Mountain, Space Shuttle. Yun yung medyo kinatakutan ko na ride sa EA kasi medyo afraid of heights ako. Pero it was really a great experience when you go there.
Ganun nga yun eh. Isang trivia doon is that we usually survey the most popular ride. Lumalabas siya number 1 sa most popular, but it doesn't mean in ridership siya ang pinakamaraming sumasakay. Kasi marami rin, kamukha mo siguro nung una, nanonood lang, pero takot sumakay. Pero talagang kakaiba siya dahil it inverts you 3 times forward and 3 times backward. So talagang maganda siya. But hopefully, in the near future, magkakaroon pa tayo na mas exciting kaysa doon.
Very exciting. So, thank you, sir, for that. Ano naman, sir, pag-usapan natin yung Eldar the Wizard. Of course, meron tayong character, yung main character natin for Enchanted Kingdom. So, ano yung naging inspiration nyo behind Eldar the Wizard, sir?
Nung kasing ginawa yung design ng Enchanted Kingdom, we commissioned a design company from North Hollywood named Landmark Entertainment Group. And they were responsible for such parks as the Sanrio Parks in Japan and also the
Mm.
Samsung Pavilion during the Daejeon World Expo in Korea. So at that time, they were the best in the business. So we got their services, and they had an American art director who was based in the country for almost 5 years, even before we started construction. Ang pangalan nun si Mr. Robert Bob Dennis. So ang ginawa niya nung dumating siya dito, nag-hire siya ng almost 30 fine arts graduates. We solicited or we requested for about 25 to 30 fine arts graduates, no, who wanted to expand their education and their experience by being part of building and teaming the first world-class theme park in the country. So yun ang ginawa niya, tinrain niya silang unang nasa site kung paano gawing mukhang bato ang papel o maging
Mm.
magmukhang kahoy yung isang piece of concrete. So kaya yung makikita mo sa Brooklyn place namin doon at almost all of the theming around the park were done by Filipino artists under the direction of Bob Dennis. So in the course of showing them how the different techniques in theming, they also came up with the first set of characters. Although when we started, ang una lang talagang na ano noon, nabigyan ng importansya ay si Eldar the Wizard. In fact, when we opened, it took us 10 years before we gave him the name Eldar. Kasi we were really concentrating on running the park, and we had this wizard-looking mascot who really didn't have a name. So sometimes tawag sa kanya si EK, si X, si Wizard, gano'n, di ba? Pero come 2005, during our 10th year, we decided dapat siguro may pangalan siya. So kaya naman Eldar ang pinangalan sa kanya, para hindi na malayo sa EK, so Eldar. Parang gano'n. Pero yung look and feel niya, nandun na siya since the start. No? And it was also done by Filipino artists under the direction of Bob. Pero ngayon, as we went further into our 15th, 20th year, ganon, we slowly introduced some other characters that they did and added some more. Such that now we have, I think, siguro we have about 10 characters already that we use, including twin princesses, a king and a queen,
Mm.
etc. But si ano, the first one really was Eldar the Wizard, and he was the symbol of being jolly, being wise, at saka yun, hindi nga tumatanda.
Alright. So, Eldar is a jolly and wise wizard. Alright.
Yes.
So, alright. So, let me talk about, let me go back to ano yung mga nabanggit kanina, sir. So, of course, if you would like to run a business that's this big agad, kailangan sobrang daming research na pagdadaanan. And of course, marami kayong cost structures na kailangan pag-isipan, of course. So how about, of course, na mention nyo rin, sir, na of course, every year or every few periods, di ba? You're gonna put up a new attraction, a new ride. Ano yung mga considerations nyo, sir, when it comes to bringing in new attractions for EK?
Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, when we went into the amusement park or attractions business, talagang what we knew was only what we read about, what we were advised about, no, and what we saw from foreign shores. So talagang it was kumbaga sa ano nagmatrikula kami talaga. Maraming tama, marami rin namang mali. Pero pinaka-importante kasi is when you fail or when you come short from your expectations, ang pinaka-importante is how not to dwell, on what you did wrong, but it's better to concentrate on how you stand up and get back on your feet para matuloy mo na, maibalik mo yung momentum. And we've had many experiences like that because the first 15 years talaga was like what we call our roller coaster experience. No, pero yun nga, when we were still starting, unang-una, nung ginagawa namin yung park, akala namin, tinatayo namin is a set of buildings. When in fact, actually, ang binibuild mo is like a mini city. Kasi hindi lang naman yung buildings na nakikita mo sa ibabaw eh. You have your streets, you have your drainage, lahat yan. So parang gumawa ka ng maliit na development talaga, no? And then, of course, we all know that the main source of revenue is from admission, no? But for a very sensitive market like what we have, na hindi mo naman masyadong pwedeng itaas yung presyo, no? You can only charge so much. Imagine mo, in 25 years, we went from 300. Ngayon, we're not yet even at 1,000 pesos. And we know that the peso had devalued more than that. But, yun nga, bali, you also have to find ways na hindi lang admission. Although up to about 60% is still based on admission, you have to look for ways for alternative revenue streams. And this can be found, of course, naturally sa pagkain, for food, for merchandise, mga souvenirs, and then nakakadagdag din dyan yung mga games, yung mga parang perya-perya, yung ganon. And then, of course, uh, kung ayaw mo mag-invest ng masyadong malaki pero meron naman mga kaibigan o may mga partners ka na gustong magbukas ng ibang attraction within the park, meron din kaming arrangements noon wherein may revenue share, no? So kamukha nun, when we started, we had a partner for the go-kart track. They spent for the track and for the go-karts, and then we just shared in the revenue. But at a certain point, binayback na namin yung investment niya, and now everything goes to us, no? Sa food, ganun din naman. As much as we would like to have everything under the umbrella of the park, it's another thing when you want to practice economies of scale o kaya ayaw mo rin yung masyadong detalyado yung operasyon mo. Plus, you want to capitalize also on the name and the brands that are available around the market. Yung ibang mga brand names siya, mas malaki pa nga kaysa sa amin. So, ibig sabihin, pili rin kami ng partners and then doon, may revenue share din doon and then they become tenants. No? So, ganon. So, importante lang talaga is that you're able to know your market so that kung ano yung tatanggalin mo, idadagdag mo, na-foresee mo, and then nakokontrol mo rin yung cost mo para sa ganon, may the delicate balance of revenue versus cost is always there such that you keep a decent margin to be able to reinvest. Because as I mentioned, the yardstick sa industry kasi is anything new every year, but at least something new or major every 2 to 3 years. So when we started, hindi namin nagawa yun. We were able to do that after almost 15 years. Yung every other year or every 2 or 3 years, gano'n. Pero yun nga, once we were able to get back on our feet and really finally recover our investment, we decided to plow everything back to the park such that we're able to follow that yardstick of about 2 to 3 years and then some.
Alright, so thank you for that, sir. Ang daming natutunan business-wise. So if sa inyo, kung gusto nyo gusto nyo mag-start ng sarili nyong business, you have to look for other sources of income rin, and you have to be as creative as you can to really make your business as creative and as innovative, no? And also strategic partnerships will come in handy if you're starting your own business. So sir, I'd like to go a little bit more backwards. So of course, ang daming kami natutunan sa inyo, and of course, marami kang natutunan from your industry. Pero where did you learn all of this about business? Saan kayo natuto mag-business initially? So maybe we can go back to your agriculture days, and sino yung mga nagturo sa inyo on how to do business properly, sir?
Of course, based on what I studied in school, so it included not only agricultural subjects but also business courses kasi nga agribusiness yung course na tinake ko. And then since the family was running an agricultural concern, agriculture-based business, I being the eldest, became parang the understudy of my father, of my late father. So, in a way, naturuan ako unti-unti doon ng, ng tungkol sa pagninegosyo, but more on agriculture. Pero definitely, alam naman natin na dapat meron kang revenue, tapos siyempre to produce that revenue, meron kang gastos, no? And then, ang bottom line dapat, hindi pula yung nasa ilalim o hindi negative sign, positive dapat yon, no? So, anything in between. Pero yun nga, when we went into the amusement business, talagang kakaiba kasi nga hindi ka naghihintay ng 8 months for the plant to grow, no? Hindi mo kalaban ang ulan, no? O kaya hindi kulang yung tao mo maano. Dito binabantayan mo ilang tao yung darating, gaano magkano yung gagastusin nila. At saka dito pa nararanasan namin even up to this day na kuminsan sinasabi ko mabuti pa yung halaman hindi sumasagot o hindi pilosopo. Eh dito, you cannot satisfy everyone, di ba? So, kuminsan talaga may mga negative comments pa rin. You try to do as much as you can, pero hindi nabubura yon, no? Kaya, ang ano siguro, yung sa early part of my business life, so it was a combination of what I learned from my father and what I've learned from my teachers in school. Then the rest of it talagang parang ano na, school of hard knocks, or meaning you try to implement what you learn from different sources and put it into the business. Pagdating dito sa sa Enchanted Kingdom at sa amusement naman, I think the goal really is still to come up with a positive bottom line or a profit. So yung basic objective nandoon pa rin. How to create that revenue stream lang, no? Iba, hindi halaman. Dito, ang revenue stream mo, ilang tao yung papasok na nagbabayad, ilang tao yung kakain, ilan yung bibili na souvenir, yung revenue mo. Tapos ang gastos mo naman, nandyan yung labor mo for to operate the park, nandyan yung kuryente, yung tubig, tapos yung cost of goods mo. No? And the bottom line, syempre, dapat mas malaki yung revenue versus dun sa cost mo. And then, kung talagang maganda yung bottom line mo, doon ka magge-generate ng pwede mo i-plow back into expanding the park or improving the facilities. Siyempre, if your operational income or bottom line is not enough, then you have other sources. One, of course, is to an equity call or increase in equity among all the shareholders or kung sino may kaya. And then, of course, another is to go to the financial markets wherein you could go to the banks or non-traditional lenders para sa ganun, you can borrow to reinvest, but making sure that you're able to pay it back over the period of time that you borrowed the funds.
All right, maraming salamat for that, sir. So with that, you also mentioned kanina na, of course, you've had a lot of failures. You've had your share of failures in the past, and for Enchanted Kingdom as well. But you've learned through them. So can you share a specific failure, a big failure that you had that really taught you a lot of lessons back then?
I think there was a time wherein merong nga saying you build it and they will come. And when we opened Enchanted Kingdom, yun ang mantra na iniisip namin.
So somehow we were very focused on opening the park, on operating the park, na parang napabayan na yung how do you generate or how do you market it properly, no? So parang nag-suffer ng konti the way we marketed it, kung paano ma-segment yung market. So noong una kasi maraming pumupunta lang puro walk-in, hindi groups, no? Pero na-realize namin, no, after nung bumababa yung attendance before the turn of the century, na malaki rin pala yung market ng groups. So when groups, sinasabi ko dyan, corporate groups, we are in an area with a large number of big companies that look for places to spend their time. And then of course, ang isa pa, dahil nga yung EK is not only for leisure and entertainment. It is also for educational entertainment or edutainment. Dahil nakita namin, just within the 7 theme zones, you can tell a story of a certain place or a certain time in history. And then, of course, when you look at the physics and the geometry of the different rides, you can come out also with exercises, no, that can be used as an alternative learning opportunity for different levels from grade school, high school, and even college. So nung nakita namin na hindi na explore yung mga possibilities na yon. Parang in 2008, 2009, we really did a major market shift into how we market the park. And to get that included new people into the marketing group, and that's when it really shut up. No, meaning that's when it really went through the roofs, and we didn't have to depend on walk-ins, and we had a large number of school groups every year, and also a large number of corporate groups during the summer and during the Christmas holidays. No?
Oh. So would you say that 2009 or 2008, yun yung tipping point for Enchanted Kingdom, sir?
2008 was really the tipping point because that was the year that we had our lowest attendance. Of course, it didn't help. Alam naman natin that there was a global financial crisis, 2008, 2009. But after that, 2009 onwards, talagang pataas na siya. We had some hiccups in 2016, 17, 17, 18, 17, 18. But our record year was 2019. We hit more than 1.9 million guests, and we were hoping for a better year this year. So it's becoming to be a memorable year, but not in the way that we wanted it to be. Our 25th year.
Yes, unfortunately. So in contrast naman, sir, to the failures, how would you define success in general?
Initially, when we were finding it hard to make both ends meet, lagi ko sinasabi sa mga kasama namin na parang pag nakikita mo kasi yung ngiti ng mga bata at saka ng mga magulang, nag-enjoy sila sa park, no? Parang that gave you a certain level of satisfaction, no? Nakakatuwa na 'yon. Pero kung year after year, yun na lang pinagbabasihan mo na satisfaction mo, pero wala naman laman yung bulsa mo, mahirap. So, mabuti na lang, in the nick of time when we were able to turn it around, then maganda na yung nakikita mo yung dumadami pa yung ngumingiti at ang tutuwa at saka nagkakaroon ng mga magical experience sa park. And at the same time, yung kanilang experiences na yun, na i-convert, no, na revenues that benefit the company.
All right. So there needs to be a certain kind of balance when it comes to your purpose. Of course, you would like for your people to be happy, your attendants to be happy, but of course, yung profitability is also a big factor in the satisfaction na makukuha nila.
Oo, siyempre, yung profitability plays into how you are able to sustain the viability of the business, no? Hindi ka naman pwede na lagi na lang negative ka doon, pwede ka magsara. Pero once nakuha mo na yung right mix at right formula, and you're able to adapt to changing times, then uh, hindi naman kami rin yung parang hinahanap, hindi naman kami short term eh. Para bang ibig sabihin, kailangan makuha ko yung pera ko within 5 years. Maglagay ako ng piso ngayon, dapat bumalik yan within 5 years. Yung business that we are in sa amusement park business is a long-term or multi-generational business. No? Kasi parang dito, hindi siya kasing laki siguro ng, well, sabihin mo dyan, Bitcoin o 5-6 or whatever. Pero kung handled properly, it can give you continuous returns across or beyond one generation. And if maintained properly, it can be longer than that. We have friends in the States and in Europe na yung mga parks nila are more than 100 years old. So you can imagine 2 or 3 generations na yan. So ito parang sa lahat ng nag-invest dito, sa mga kasama ko, kami, mga pamilya namin, this is like parang a legacy that we would like to leave, na we were able to create the first world-class theme park in the Philippines. As the years will go by, we'd like to expand what we initially started so that it can benefit the future generations and more generations to come.
All right. So you mentioned, sir, that you really have to find that proper mix. How long did it take for you to find that kind of mix para mas maging successful yung Enchanted Kingdom?
When we became more aggressive nga with our marketing in 2009 onwards, that was when things changed. So, and it was after that, it was just tweaking and riding out the external forces that sometimes affect you, the weather, di ba? There are other things kasi the economy should be good because going to an amusement park is not food, shelter, clothing, eh. No, and then you compete with the malls, you compete with the movie houses, no. So it's like it's not necessarily a luxury. I would say that it's parang it's an opportunity to bond and to create magical and enchanting memories with your family, friends, and loved ones.
So you also mentioned, sir, na it is a very long-term kind of business and it is multi-generational. So meron ka bang ginagawang steps ngayon to prepare for example, the next generation to take over EK? Are you doing those kinds of pipeline planning, sir?
Yes, we've been doing that because we've been trying to get new blood into the organization, not only from outside, but even from, for example, from our own immediate family. We have 4 children, and out of the 4, 3 are already working with us. One in creative and entertainment, one in IT and data privacy, and one in business development and digital media. So next gen na yon, no? So kami, kumbaga sa COVID, endangered species na kami. So mabuti naman na meron na kaming mga nakakausap na pagpapasahan ng aming mga experiences and ideas. And of course, the younger they are, the more attuned they are to what millennials and the younger people want. And then some of them have children. So those are the best decision makers, or ano yung term ngayon? Influencers.
Yes.
To be able to promote your business in this new norm, in these new times.
All right. Wow. All right. So very exciting for the next few years, no? I'm really excited to see and to go back to Enchanted Kingdom. Sir, do you like to read books?
Yes, I read books that interest me, no. Business books, not too much, but it's more.
Mm.
Well, I like I'm into motorsports. No,
Ah.
so it's more about that. When it comes to the industry, I read books about Disney and other people who have been there
Mm.
ahead of us, and whom we have been able also to share experiences. So we have a lot of friends in the industry older than us, or who have been through Disney and Universal, and they're able to help share with us their experiences that may be applicable on a smaller scale. No.
Alright.
Yeah, I read books, pero a little of everything. Meron sa
Mm.
amusement industry, meron sa business, meron sa leadership and
Mm.
inspiration. Mas marami sa kotse.
So if you had one book na you would like to recommend or to give as a gift, would there be one book, sir? May mapipili ka ba from your favorites?
Um, sa ngayon, wala. Pero in the past few years, parang one of the more striking books that I read was the story about Steve Jobs of Apple.
Mm. All right. So check that out. All right, sir. Do you have any advice that you would like to share to those of us who would like to pursue business and entrepreneurship?
First of all, you have to put your mind to it. No, once you put your mind to something that you think will be an opportunity, you have to plan for it. You have to do detailed planning such that you can minimize the uncertainty uh, of what you plan to do. So planning is very important after identifying what you want to do. And once you implement it, be sure that you create a team. Because I believe I don't have a monopoly of the knowledge, no, and I need people around me to be able to make uh, not the right, but the decisions that I think can help the business. So I surround myself with people even better than me, who I can rely on when decisions have to be made. So pag ganon, nabibigyan mo rin opportunity na may ka-share ka doon sa decision na gagawin mo. And then of course, gaya ng pinag-usapan natin kanina, I'm not new to shortcomings and failures. You can see we're a testament that even after the roller coaster ride that we had during the first 15 years, we're still here and we're more alive than ever. No, such that we've recovered. We fell down, we stood up. Now we're up and running again. No, to to create more magic and to create a bigger enchanted kingdom in the future. So, sabi ko nga kanina, it's not how many times or how you fall, it's how you get up to continue and pursue your dream. So, failure is not the end. No, it's just the start of something new. If you continue to persevere, and at the same time, huwag mong kalimutan magdasal.
All right, very very wise words from you, sir. Maraming salamat. So before we end, of course, meron pa tayong topic na hindi pa na-discuss. So I'd like to go back to the health pandemic. Of course, uh, we have to address this issue. So paano nga ba nag-a-adjust si Enchanted Kingdom, and what are the steps that you are taking to enter the new normal, ika nga?
Unang-una, pinag-uusapan nga natin na the year 2020 was supposed to be our year because it's our 25th year. And coming off a very good year in 2019, sabi natin, ang ganda ng ating arangkada for 2020. Hindi pa nakaka 2 weeks yung 2020 noong January, pumutok si Taal. So that was pala a foreboding of things to come. Because nung pumutok si Taal, we had more than 15,000 people at the park. And slowly but surely by 6 p.m. we had to close kasi they were going home, it was getting dark, and umuulan na ng abo.
and we were closed only for 1 week, or for less than a week. But because of the alert level dun sa area, which was at 4 and then 3 and then 2, nung 4 and 3 ang alert level, walang gustong lumapit dun sa Tagaytay, di ba? So kami, we were in between Tagaytay and Manila. So we lost about 2 or 3 weeks there. And even when there were the first signs of the pandemic, of the COVID, we were already recovering towards the end of February and early March. We were recovering from Taal already, even with the pandemic starting. We were already checking temperature, etc. Ganon. Then come the lockdown on March 18. So from March 16, lockdown, up to this point, no business. As in, totally no business. No? So, napakahirap nun sa amin. But what we've been doing is that, alam naman natin, if we want to, it's so easy to close. Meaning, close, sige, sarado na. Hanap tayo ibang negosyo. But parang kami kasi sa EK, parang it's one big family. And you have to take care of everyone. And so far, we've been lucky that we've been able to take care of everyone. No? Even with us being closed. Pero we've been also working out ways by which we can open during the designated quarter that we are supposed to open. We're not coming in from the dark because we are members of that international association from the US, and they have come up with some norms and some policies and guidelines on how to operate under a new normal, no? Ano yung mga measures na kailangan gawin. So, yun yung parang mga Biblia namin para tulungan kami or to guide us. Then of course, based on the local scenario, alam naman natin kung ano yung mga dapat gawin: social distancing, reduce the capacity of the park, reduce the capacity of our buildings, etc. So lahat parang we're rewriting our operations guidelines, no? Kasi nga dati noon talagang walang limit. We're bursting at the seams. You have to wait for a long time to take a ride, but we don't put a cap on how many people can come in. But now, because of the threat of the virus, we have to be serious about everything. I mean, ang hirap yun yung parang everyone that goes to the park, whether it's an employee or it's a guest, is a possible carrier, no? And you just hope and pray na hindi ka tamaan. Pero yun nga, so we're setting guidelines and some measures. It's not cheap. We've invested for that. And we're hoping, since we're classified as a category 4 enterprise, the last to open, enterprises or businesses that will open under the new normal, which comes up after MGCQ. So akala nga namin papunta na kami doon. Kasi GCQ na yung Laguna, no? Tapos biglang bumalik tayo sa ECQ. Pero yun nga, sana lang nga, wag lang masyado na tumagal, sana mag-improve na. So once nasa new normal na, which is about September or late September, early October, we can open so that we can properly but modestly celebrate our 25th anniversary on October 25.
Yes.
And then also, sana lahat tayo mag-enjoy tayo sa EK sa coming Christmas season. Pero practicing physical distancing, practicing yung health and safety measures like hand washing stations, disinfecting stations, etc. So pinaghahandaan namin yan. And in fact, we've come up with a short video about that para mapakita namin sa mga guests what we have been doing in the past few months of lockdown. Kahit na lockdown, may ginagawa kami. At continuous prayers para mag-improve yung general situation in the country para makapag-reopen na kami.
Again, sir, I'd like to thank you for being here and spending some time with us here. And maraming salamat dahil marami kaming natutunan from your wisdom and from your story, sir. So thank you for the inspiration, sir.
Well, natutuwa rin ako na you've given me the chance to speak. in these times of the pandemic, wherein, as I mentioned, I'm part of the endangered species. I cannot venture out too much, and most of my time have been kept indoors. But meeting our people virtually, it's also been a very good experience because even though it's virtual, nakikita mo sila talagang face to face. As
Yes.
compared to yung kung minsan magta-town hall meeting ka sa park and you just see them from afar. Kasi ang laki na, marami kami mga cast members or employees eh. Pero ngayon you can skim through the screens and see, ito pala yung si ganon, no? So there's parang it improves your personal relationships with them. But again, thank you for having me, and I hope kahit papano I've been able to share some of the experiences that I went through before Enchanted Kingdom, ngayon at Enchanted Kingdom, and how we hope to pass on Enchanted Kingdom to the next generation.
Yes, maraming salamat. Thank you, sir. It's an honor to meet you, and I hope marami kayong natutunan, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. So that's it, sir. Maraming salamat, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, so that's it, guys. I hope marami kayong natutunan. I hope nag-enjoy kayo from this episode. If meron kayong feedback or gusto kayong i-comment, lagay nyo lang sa comment section. Babasahin namin yan. Maraming salamat for tuning in.